Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Thrilled to be here. Just got done with practicing over, down, up, I don't know, directionally at Texas State. Just thrilled about the opportunity to here shortly get to play Virginia Tech on Sunday. It's been an interesting last couple of days, as everybody knows, in the bubble and what's going on here inside San Antonio. But I think overall, just really excited to move forward each day and get our team ready to play in the NCAA tournament.
Ben Steele, if you want to go ahead and start us off.
Yeah, you mentioned it. What's it like being there with everybody at the same side, all the teams, and just being all together there?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's one, the weather is beautiful, so the sun is shining, and it's a little warmer than Milwaukee, so we're kind of happy about that.
Thanks for rubbing that in.
What's that?
Thanks for rubbing that in.
Yeah, I just want to rub it into you, especially you, Ben. Yeah, so we're it's funny, just even walking, to and from like practice or on the bus just to get a little vitamin D has been good. I mean, it's been documented. When we first got here, we went into our quarantine for a couple days and really isolated ourselves and didn't really see hardly anybody. We saw a few teams passing, but it was very much stay away and get your testing done and chill out a little bit after your travel. And I thought we survived that very well. And when we got cleared yesterday evening to have a little first practice, it was awesome. Just getting up and down the court and, getting some shots up and just getting their legs moving has been good overall. We're doing just fine over here.
Doug Feinberg, go ahead.
Hey, Duff, good to see you.
Hi, Doug.
So you have perspective because you played women's basketball, obviously, for Notre Dame, had a great career. You were an assistant coach, you're a head coach. All the outside stuff that's been going on in the last 24 hours with inequities and such, have you seen any changes from when you were first starting to play X number of years ago? I mean, has it gotten worse? Is it the same? And I know this is different because usually in the first round, you're home. So like you have your own bed or you have your own weight room or such, or your own food. But do you see any differences? I mean, is this really as bad as everyone's saying, or is it something's been there for years and now it's finally coming to light because of social media?
I think the overall theme is it has gotten better from the opportunities that, women's basketball has brought all of us, coaches, players, but I still think there's a long way to go. Obviously, we're under the microscope in this situation in a bubble. There will never be a situation like this where you're in quarantines and, you're in N95 masks and you have to travel a certain way and stay away from the public. I just can't imagine us ever having to go through this. What's interesting to me in all this in the last 24 hours is this idea that as women and women in sports, coaches, players, we've always been, I think, the group that has been appreciative and humbled about opportunity. And we're thankful, for just even having a tournament this year. I just think, imagine last year, right, where we're sitting at home and we're crushed. So I think we just have to be smart that we're not negating our appreciation of what this season has been and what we've all had to go through. However, there are inequities and we're seeing it blasted on social media. So we're trying to use our voices in the appropriate way to make it clear that we're not happy with some of the things that are happening. But at the same time, we still have perspective of how thankful we are. The energy that every single person on the screen, our administration, the NCAA is working to try and, help us. But it is hard when you look on Twitter, you hear your that are, in a different part of the country getting treated differently. It's really hard for our women to see it. And all we can do is have the conversation again and again and keep trying to find solutions. Even after what happened in the last 24 hours, there have been a lot of changes, in a good way that help us all down here. And so I just think it's two worlds of we still are very grateful for, as you mentioned, Doug, the growth that has happened. I just think of this year, every game's going to be on the family of ABC and ESPN, and it's not going to be whip around coverage. And there's still so many positives, but we're also still need to have the voice to point out the things that obviously came to light with the food and the weight room and the swag bags and all of that.
Thanks, Megan.
Yep.
John Liuzzi, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, kind of going off of that, the NCAA talked about in their meeting this morning with the media. They had a meeting with you, or the coaches and the representatives. Can you just talk about some conversations perhaps you've had with other coaches down there, or even more specifically with your own team?
Yeah, I mean, we're very in tune with what's going on around us. I think, I have a lot of trust in specifically our administration at Marquette and our leaders in women's basketball in general, from the coaches side of things. And I think they've done a great job of, lending their voice, giving their opinions on what needs to be changed, obviously working ahead and thinking of this before it happens. So I have a lot of confidence that we're going to make some great changes on all fronts to keep, the equity moving in the right direction. From my side of things, we as a team, whether it's the social injustices, whether it's women's equality, we talk about these topics, whether that's, what happened down in Atlanta with the Asian community. I mean, we talk about all these topics, and what I think we've done a really good job of as a program here is being able to a little bit then compartmentalize. Okay, we're in this big fight every single day as women and young women, and teaching them how to use their voices. But we also have to be very, very focused on the task at hand, and that's wanting to win a basketball game too. And I think we can do both. I think that's the awesome thing of our ability to multitask. We can use our voices in the right way, in the right platform, but still be focused on, winning as many games as we can in the NCAA tournament.
Mark Berman.
Hi, Mark Berman of the Roanoke Times in Virginia. Wanted to ask you about Selena and Lauren, and kind of what have you liked about their play this year, and what kind of strong suits have emerged for them this year that's helped you get to the NCAAs?
We've been led by Selena a lot, including all season long, and very, very different complementary players. Selena's been our playmaker. The ball has been in her hands a ton. At one point I felt like she was in the top in our league in every statistical category, from steals to assists to points. She brags about her occasional block. She's been obviously a tremendous defender. She was co-defensive player of the year in our league. She'll have a great challenge on Sunday against Shepherd. But, she's been a great, just balanced star for us in a lot of ways. Lauren Van Clunen has been our glue. She reminds me of so much of like a Tim Duncan. I use that analogy a lot. Just fundamentally sound, got the left hook, the right hook. She's got great versatility, stepping out and shooting her jumper, plays extremely hard. And that's kind of been the identity of our team, is just, our toughness, our relentlessness. I say minus our last game against UConn, but overall as the combination of the whole season, those two have really showed our identity.
What has emerged as the identity of this year's team?
I think we've been a well-balanced team. I think if you look at us statistically, we share the basketball at an extremely high clip. Our assists per game, our assist ratio. You'll see us move the ball around to different people, over the course of a game. We have a great inside-outside attack. We're confident that, it's not going to be one player that has to score 20 or 24 at 5 for us to win the game. The other thing we've prided ourselves on is just our rebounding and our toughness. We've stayed and beat a lot of quality teams because of that. And that's going to be, I think, a very big key in the game against, Kitley's size and, her ability to score in the paint. It'll be big for us to kind of control and make it difficult for her in the paint as much as we can.
Yeah, how do you feel about your post defense and your 3-point defense as you get ready to face Kitley and Shepherd tomorrow?
Ooh, as you know, those are the two keys. You got to stop. Kitley, we get to play against Nelson Adota from a 6'5" size from UConn, but they're very different players. Kitley is, I haven't seen a kid for her age with some of the versatility and skill set she has. She's got a little Dirk Nowitzki in her. Some of the shots she takes, no matter if you're in her face or you're doubling, she makes them. She just shoots it right over you. So she has a little bit of Elena Deldon in her too. with her post game. So really a lot of respect for that kid. And then, as you mentioned, like, we have to guard the 3-point line. Kenny's teams has always been his programs, whether it was at JMU or with Vatech, of just, they want to shoot threes, a high volume of shoot threes. If they make threes, obviously it's hard to beat. We've had a little bit of the luxury when we play teams like Creighton and Villanova, as much as it's a little bit different style. We know how much they live and die by the 3-ball. So we're trying to kind of have that same messaging, but it's going to be key. Obviously stop their 3-point shooters. And there's a lot of them. And then obviously find a way to make it, like I say, you're not going to stop Kitley, but make it as difficult as we can on her inside.
And finally, I guess, how much good preparation has the Big East been for getting you ready to face the kind of teams you're now going to face in the NCAAs?
Yeah, I mean, the ACC is a little bit different. We've had a lot of time to go through. I mean, the amount of game film we're allowed to go through in a week is pretty ridiculous. So, you take little pieces of what, maybe like a Wake Forest did or a Notre Dame did, or, why was Virginia Tech successful against NC State, like consistently. So you try and kind of study those tendencies. I think, one of the things that I think we're going to have to do a good job within the game when you haven't played a team like Virginia Tech is to make adjustments within the game. I think that's going to be really, really important. When you get in conference play and you're playing teams for the third time and they know everything you do, you're not going to have that same advantage when you play a new team. So just being ready to change some things up in the middle of the game. And, like I said, the size of Kitley will be different for us, but I'm also really confident with the way we execute and, our balance and our team that we can hopefully give them some problems too.
Thank you.
Zoe, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. So going off a little bit of what we talked about earlier in regards to social media, obviously Oregon Sedona Prince had that viral TikTok. Kind of what was your initial reaction to that? Because I'm assuming you saw that and then it got all that traction with like NBA players and people like that. And kind of going off of that too, what are the next steps in your opinion to address these inequalities, do you think?
I didn't see totally all about Sedona Prince's video. I know she put something out. What I can speak on is just, I mean, how awesome it was to see some of the NBA guys step up. And I think we saw that back and forth with the WNBA and NBA, this entire season. So that was pretty cool. But I think, Zoe, as you alluded to, the conversation, it has to go past social media, right? We got to really dig into how do we solve this? How can we make little adjustments? How can we kind of get on the same page in advance? And I know I'm confident with our leadership, we'll continue to make some good strides with it, but it's more than just putting it on social media. It's really digging into the conversation and, the resources and, getting the right people at the table continually to try and, not brush things under the rug, just keep bringing it to light and hope we can keep moving forward.
Megan Caffrey, go ahead.
Hello, Coach. Talking a little bit more on the court basketball wise for your team, since you do have such a balanced attack and every player can kind of go off, who are you maybe looking for or maybe going to be really leaning on in Sunday's game to handle a little bit more of the offensive load?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward. I always look at some of our players coming off the bench and our role players of how they can impact the game. I think, our depth can be an advantage for us, hopefully, in this game. And I thought Claire Cafis had a great week of practice. She's been a great 3-point shooter for us all year, but she's turned her intensity level a little bit and, kind of like the whatever you need me to do mentality. She's kind of done it this week. And I think we've had a lot of like time to practice. So you try some different things, trying to get Liza Carlin, a freshman who's played for us this year, just, more experience and ready for the moment. But I think ultimately we talk about Lat Van Jordan King is always an X factor for me. She's got a lot on her shoulders having to play point guard for Coach Duffy, poor kid. But she takes everything just so well. She took that Connecticut beat down really, really personal, which was cool to see, and just put it a lot on her shoulders. And I told her and I go, we have to be better. You and I, like, you're the point guard. Selena and Lauren as seniors got a lot on their plate, but we have to take this a little bit more personal with how we organize our team and approach our team. And when we get, smacked like we did in that first quarter, we haven't really had that happen to us all season. Like, how do we respond? And she's been awesome with just the maturity to handle those difficult conversations. And, and I'm looking forward to kind of the matchup too with, her and then Georgia Amore, who's been a freshman point guard for Virginia Tech that has really come on the last, few weeks of the season, playing at a different level. It almost looked like with her, she was, trying to figure out like Jordan was last year as a freshman point guard, like, survive, learn the offense, do your, just kind of do the best you can. And she's really kind of flipped her switch on as well. So that'll be kind of a fun matchup for Jordan and then the Amore kid as well.
And then just a quick follow-up. I know you said your team was in isolation. You finally got on the court to practice, but getting to this point of having this much time to actually prepare for an opponent and really being able to talk with your team, how in a year like this year where you're a little bit more so on the fly with things here and there, how much are you guys just chomping at the bit that you've really gotten the ability to finally prepare?
Yeah, I think that's the balance, because like you also, as coaches, like we try and prepare for any and every situation that could happen, but a little bit, you don't want to have your team be thinking like this. You just have to keep it, just what you've been doing kind of all year. Simple, get them confident, trust that you've gotten the reps in a lot of different ways. Like even yesterday, we got out of quarantine and we had already obviously prepped for Virginia Tech some before we left, and we had today and we have tomorrow again. We used like yesterday as a fun day, shooting competitions, like we were doing like a staff workout, like around like walk, like we were trying to just keep it loose, because when we're in film sessions and we're in scout mode, we're serious and very businesslike. And that's been the personality of our team. As you saw us in like selection Monday, I mean, we acted like we won the Super Bowl, but that's okay because that's us. Like we were like, we're getting the best celebration, on ESPN, tonight, and trying to have some fun moments when, yes, you can talk about the quarantines and just the bad stuff that's happened. But we try and a little bit with my leadership, I try and be able to have the fun and silly and goofiness, and then being able to turn it back on. And our team is very mature with that. They can handle that, of knowing when to, be silly with shooting contests and shooting competitions and, offhand shots and one-legged shots, and then get back to how the heck are we going to guard Kitley, and how the heck are we going to shut down Shepherd from the perimeter. So we've kind of kept that same mantra. Even this week, we're still worrying about school. Like that doesn't stop here at Marquette too. So making sure they know, like, expectations with their classes and getting their online work done doesn't change just because we're in the NCAA tournament. So I think overall, when it's all said and done this year, that's what I'll probably be most proud about, is just the way they continue every day to, handle their lives as student athletes and the ups and downs that come with it. And I'm just really thrilled for our players to have the opportunity to be down here and, just have an opportunity after that UConn game too, to get back on that floor. And at the end of the day, we show up and have great effort and compete. Whatever happens, each game we got to